And we should be live. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? Should do the whole live stream in a voice like this. Hello, how are you? Hello, welcome. Welcome. Welcome to the live chat. Too close to the mic. Need to try and figure out how to get my narration microphone hooked up to the computer for live streams because I still use a Logitech headset for live streams. I tried it several times before, but I think you need completely different software. I'm learning. Teaching myself stuff. Can you hear me? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Hey, damn gypsy. Hopefully you can hear me. Crow at the SOL. What does that mean anyway? Because it looks like the crow from Mystery Science Theater 3000, which is hilarious, by the way. I just crammed a bowl full of Cheetos into my face because I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to get done here before I started the live stream. Like literally cleaned out and washed 2 cars and cut the grass. I wanted to get that done before I live streamed. Yeah, the cars were dirty. Ugh, I can't stand that. Satellite of Love. Oh, Satellite of Love. Okay. Hello, my darling. Okay. I've been, Mystery Science 3000. I've been trying to get my husband to start his own YouTube channel for sports, mainly during football season, because his commentary and then my reaction to his commentary is hilarious because it makes us laugh. So I want him to do that and just have people on, or he could just probably talk about it for an hour and people would listen because it's fucking hilarious. But hello, I meant hell, my Duchess. I know what you meant. I found some crazy stories for Patreon yesterday. And when you guys, if anybody signs up, Crow, I don't know if you're going to stay there or not. Bear Woman Harley, Cassie Quinn Sains. Hi, nice video. Hello. Logan, hello. That is a long user handle. Bear Woman Harley, Cassie Quinn Sains. That's a mouthful. That's what she said. Oh, if you're new here, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. So you've been warned. Anyway, for yesterday for Patreon, I found these crazy stories that I thought I had read before. I guess I didn't go deep enough into the section of stories. And I found some crazy ones that I've never read before. And luckily, there's more of them. So yeah, we're going to read those. And then I found a few more. And then at the end, I found a couple lists of scary movies that are on Netflix. Let me see if this other one is on Netflix. It says it's on Netflix. Although I have went through lists before and it says it's on Netflix and then you look for it and it's not there anymore. I don't know why they ever do that. They should always just keep everything on there. Like always. Just keep it on there. Okay. Anyone have anything they want to talk about while they're in the chat? Feel free to say anything. Yesterday, I was on this one girl's channel that I watch, and somebody said something mean to her about her, and I went off. Hey, Bernadette. I went off on them, but I went back and deleted it later, and then I just reported the user and blocked the user. But I really wish that like someone like was monitoring her channel and got rid of those comments before, because my instant gut reaction is to like instantly shut down that person. But the best way to shut them down is to block them, even if they make like even if trolls are trolling and they make new like user handles or new accounts and stuff, just constantly block them. So that's what I've been doing on my channel. I've been trying to, because they have to be really mean for me to block them though. Like if they're just going to say, oh, nice voice or terrible stories, if they go in and like name calling or start calling someone else names, yeah, they're going to get blocked. And I even have Yes, we would all like to hear the story of about the house that you grew up in. Yeah. Didn't you say you were going to send something? Or is that somebody else that said they were going to send something about that? Um, I don't know. Um, you let me know how you want to do that, Logan. Um, yeah, I think we'd all like to hear it. Um, so that's a definite yes. Does anybody else have any questions before I start reading? Because I have these already lined up. They're already ready to go. What happened the other day with live chat? I scheduled this. Here's what happened. So I got on the computer because me and my husband went and I bought a green screen, like the whole setup with the green screen and the lights and everything. It's going to have to go in my basement. So we're going to have to record down there, which is totally finished. It's totally fine. Um, but we had just went and got that and I wanted to test out some things, but I couldn't figure out how to test it out without setting up and scheduling a live stream. So instead of turning it on at the moment, I thought I could just schedule it for Tuesday and then just mess around with it by starting it without actually starting it, if that makes sense. So I was messing around with it and then I turned it off and came back. And for some reason, YouTube rescheduled it for Saturday night. So I had to come back and redo it for today. I think we're going to make Tuesday live streams just a standard. The time of it, I'm not sure because I think there's other people that miss out on it because they're at work. So I'm not sure. But people like that are in different countries would miss out on it if I do it later. So I'm gonna have to like switch it on and off. Like today I'll do it at noon. And then next Tuesday I'll try to do evening. So like maybe like an 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. I don't know if that's late enough. Maybe a 9. Maybe a 9 would work better. Anyway, oh, people are leaving the chat. Okay. Um anyway, so we have some really messed up stories, I believe. I'll be skimming through. You guys will be the judge of that. And so without further ado, we're going to go right into it. If everybody's ready to listen. Let me see here. Sorry, I did that right in the microphone too, and I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's get into it. All right, cool. Crow, are you out of the United States? I can't not remember. I'll wait for a response. I'll come back and check the chat in a minute. I'm going to go to the stories. First of many. There's supposed to be like, I'm starting out at 38 of 50. So, because I've already used all of the other ones and I have no idea what's in here. So, here we go. I'm sorry. I feel like every time I do a live stream, my voice goes in and out. And it probably will today again because I cut the grass before I started today. And I was already having trouble breathing because it's like, it's September, but it's super hot and muggy. And it's really messing with my allergies. So I'm a person that's really looking forward to like 60, 50 degree weather. So it'll kill whatever is in the air that's driving me crazy. Anyway, this says code use USA soft. Anyway, when I was younger, we lived in an apartment complex, which my mother managed. The day before Halloween, she was telling us all a scary story about how 2 little boys and their mom died above us, vacant apartment. And how if you listen closely, you can still hear their footsteps running up and down the hallway. Well, at that very moment, what do we hear? The sound of running upstairs. The look on my mother's face was pure terror. So she called the cops that patrol the neighborhood, and one of them on duty maintenance one of the guys on duty maintenance. And they went into the apartment. Turns out, a homeless mother had slipped in through an open window with her 2 children and had been living up there for some time. My mother never told us another ghost story. Well, I don't know if that's scary, but that was very coincidental and freaky. Feel bad for the mom. Hey, Casely, good morning. Good morning. Oh, you are in Michigan. Okay, cool. That's cool. So evenings will work for you then, right? Every other. So we're gonna do like next Tuesday's live stream. We'll do like at 8 or 9 p.m. And then the one after that we'll do at noon again, so that everybody gets a chance to listen. Because I feel like sometimes when you do when I do them in the middle of the day, a lot of people miss out. But mainly I do that because it doesn't interrupt the Wi-Fi. So Logan says the house I grew up in had holding cells in the basement. I think we were talking about this before. There was talk about my grandfather owning. Say, ah, Jen, hi. I'm coming over for coffee whenever I go through Kansas, which is, not close to Michigan. But hey, you never know. Logan, when I went downstairs, I knew there were people there, 2 men and 1 woman. Wow. Yeah, I think we were talking about that before because remember I said I'm addicted to looking at houses for sale. And I was looking at this one house online and I got this feeling in my gut that made me sick to my stomach because they had the way the basement was set up just from the pictures. It was just, it felt wrong. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It just felt wrong. All right, I'll check the chat again in a second. And going back to the stories. So this one says, this isn't my story, so it takes away from the horror factor a bit, but it's from a good friend that I know doesn't make shit up. His story happens when he was about 8. He was playing hide and seek with his friend at his house. It was late, probably about 10ish. It's my friend's turn to find his friend. He's looking everywhere around the house, but he can't seem to find him anywhere. He eventually decides he must be hiding outside, so he leaves the house to find him. He starts searching around some bushes when he hears his friend's voice coming from a dark corner maybe 20 feet away. The voice called for him to come over. He didn't, because he was already spooked out enough being outside in the pitch black. My friend yelled back, "No, you come over here." That's when he said it got really spooky. He told me that the voice just sounded like his friend that kept insisting that he come over to the dark corner. My friend kept saying no over and over again. At this point, he said the voice suddenly changed to a dark, horrible sounding voice demanding he come over. At this point, he ran back inside, only to see his friend hiding in the living room. When he questioned how he got inside so fast, the friend said he never went outside. Now, I know both of these guys. None of them make up shit, and I doubt it's a case of an imagination gone wild. It still spooks me just thinking about the story. Yikes, that's scary. Whenever I read these, I wonder if that's ever happened to anyone else. Bernadette. All right, back to the chat or stories. I checked the chat. I like when you guys talk amongst yourselves. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like people are making friends. I'm a huge dork. It's fine. Okay. I grew up in a house that's pretty old. It was built in 1856. The dining room has a giant window facing the front porch. The porch wrapped around the house to the kitchen door on the side. There's a living room right next to the dining room that gives a perfect view of the window. One night while I was visiting home from college, I was watching television in the living room. I was the only one awake in the house. My mother was asleep and my father and sister were elsewhere. I heard a small clicking noise and direct my eyes over to the dining room window, and I see a silhouette of a large man in a flannel coat, wearing a baseball cap. He was just standing at the window, facing into my house. My heart about exploded, but I didn't move an inch. If he was watching me, I didn't want him to know that I saw him. I got up, walked over to the stairs, and as soon as I reached them, I sprinted up to my room. I grabbed and loaded my .35 caliber Marlin 336C and my uncle's combat knife that he used in Vietnam. I walked downstairs, threw on all the lights, and busted out the kitchen door as I cocked my rifle. Firmly but without yelling, I said, "I have a gun. Come out and I won't shoot you." 2 footsteps on the wooden porch. I swung around to the front porch, completely prepared to attack someone. But there was nothing. I spent an hour searching the 2.5 acres for this person, but never found anything. I didn't sleep that entire week. Holy crap. I gotta ask. Let's see. Logan says the lady would play with me. She said she lost her daughter. The older man liked scaring me. The other man was very sad. He only stared out the window. He was very bloody. Aww. That's sad. You should do a saging and tell them to go into the light so they're not trapped there anymore, Logan. I'm just saying. Let them know they're not trapped there anymore. They're free to go. Okay. Damn Gypsy. I feel like when I describe the weapons, they're telling stories. Yeah, I think you can just say gun. You know what I mean? I was talking to someone else about when someone's writing a story. Actually, it was Evan the Nerd. We were just talking about I'm doing this big intro to a series he wants me to do for October, which I'm really excited about, by the way. But we were talking about writing and how descriptive and how sometimes writers can go more into detail than they need to, because when you're reading a story, like, you want someone to have some of the picture in their head left to their imagination. And then when you like, say you take that same book and you make a movie out of it, if it's exactly the same as the book, I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's a little boring because then you're just seeing what you already saw in your head play out in front of you. And to me, I want it to be a little bit different because then it's like 2 versions of the same story. So when you narrate something, it's the middle of the road where you don't need as much description because your voice should help tell the story. You should be able to tell the story a little bit more with a little less detail. So I like it when everything isn't so extra over-explained. I don't know how else to say it than that, but anyway. That house I grew up in is no longer there. It was destroyed to make way for a park. Aww. You can still help them pass on. If they were staring out the window like you described, that would mean that they're still stuck on the land. You can just go there and you can think it. You don't even have to say it out loud if you think people are going to think you're crazy. You can just sit on a bench and try to just try to think it with your head. If that makes sense. Anyway, I probably sound crazy to someone just popping in, but that's fine. I don't care. All right. So, on to the stories. I was with my boyfriend at the time. We're laying in my bed and the lights were out. We weren't talking, just both thinking. All of a sudden, he rolls over and hugs me really tightly. I, of course, hug him back. But then this feeling just hit me. If I wasn't already laying down, it would have knocked me over. It was a total feeling of dread and panic. I'll admit, I've had panic attacks in the past, but this wasn't the same. I hugged my boyfriend back as hard as I could. I'd never felt a feeling like this before. My boyfriend is one of those people who is a really warm person, but even in his arms, I felt ice cold. I could feel this evil, awful feeling, and it seemed like it was coming from the corner of my room. I was kind of like sensing your friend behind you, and they aren't saying anything, but you know they're there. I honestly believe there was a demon or something in my room. Finally, I got the courage to speak and said, "Jay, do you feel that?" He said he did. The cold, evil feeling. This all happened in about 30 seconds to a minute. He decided to call his friend who was studying to be a youth pastor. I got up turned the lights on, and came back to bed. He called Matt and put him on the speakerphone. Matt prayed for us, and we closed our eyes and listened, praying in our heads. When the prayer was done, the room felt lighter and it wasn't cold anymore. But after a little small talk afterward, Matt said, "Were you two talking while I was praying?" We said, "Of course not. We were just listening." He said he heard from the phone a deep, gravelly voice telling him to stop. And he said he felt an awful, evil feeling coming over him while he was praying. Freaked me the fuck out. Boyfriend drove home immediately afterwards because he was so freaked out. I was mad because he wouldn't stay with me, because I was scared too. I went into my dad's room to tell him I thought there was a demon in my room. He was sleeping though and just muttered something about having a gun and he'd shoot it. Thanks, Dad. So yes, I am convinced it was a demon, but it never came back. So why did it even come? That's the problem I have with the whole thing. What was it trying to accomplish? Guess I'll never know. That's kind of crazy. It just happened one time. Thankfully. One time and then it was over. Sweet hell yeah. Thank God. Let's see. It was in Davenport, Iowa. Do you not live there anymore, Logan, in that area? I wish I could write stuff right now. Jen, if you have like a little memo pad in your phone, write down the ideas for the stories that you have while you have them all the time. All the time. So that you can go back to it later. Dee Dee, you helped me out a lot and I will always love you. I'm waiting for the harvest moon. You know, I'm gonna message you on Twitter, but I'm gonna say when you read instructions for something that says you need to do it at this time or this time, you don't have to do that. Sometimes people make things for dispelling bad, negative energy more complicated than it needs to be. Each day, every day, one day at a time, you need to wake up and think positive thoughts. Positive thoughts. And for the longest time, until this is a habit for you, you're going to have to keep negative people and their negative thoughts away from you until you're strong enough to just let it bounce off you and not let it affect you or your life. It's going to be hard. I just got a message on my phone. Damn Gypsy, that house is or was in Lansing. Now on Turner Street. What house is, Damn Gypsy? What are you talking about? Bug Nuts. Hey, how you doing? Logan, okay, random question. Is that new movie, The Nun, really as bad as people say it is? You know what? I feel like don't ever listen to a critic about a movie. Ever. You're going to miss out on good movies if you listen to someone else's opinion of a movie. Some people just go out of their way to overanalyze it. Seriously. If it's in the franchise of The Conjuring, so this would basically be like part 5, but like the origins. It's like the origin stories of Annabelle and The Conjuring. That's what it is. I think it's going to be way better than people think it is, and for someone to go out of their way to break it down and make it sound stupid. I've heard someone saying something about jump scares, about how they didn't like that part of it. But I mean, the movie is meant to scare you. That's the whole point of the movie. And however they do it, they've accomplished their goal. So people that break it down more than that are getting way too carried away with something. So don't ever listen to a critic. If you want to go see a movie, see a movie. If you're not, I wanted to go see it in IMAX because that would have been amazing. Holy crap. But I don't know. If you see it, I want to know because I haven't seen it yet. I do. I need to do that at break. Oh, yeah, Jen. Yes. Hello, Autumn Squirrel. The house I was telling you about that I grew up in, that next door that had a house was selling. It was torn down to make a park. The whole block was. Oh, are you and Logan like in the same scenario here? You're telling almost the same exact story. That's crazy. And again, even if the house is gone, you can go back and make a spiritual connection, even if it's mentally. You don't have to say it out loud, and tell them to go into the light. They don't have to stay here anymore. They're not trapped in this miserable negative energy that held them down in life. That's one thing I don't like about ghost shows when they go ghost hunting and they go there time and time and time and time again. It's one thing to get evidence, paranormal evidence, which I think is amazing because everyone wants to know, everyone wants physical proof of an afterlife. That's the whole point of those shows. I know most people watch them to get scared, but from a scientific standpoint, people want to see physical, tangible evidence and proof of an afterlife. And that's why people do that, number one. And number two, other people watch it because they want to see, they want proof too. It gives them peace. That's why people like shows about mediums and things like that. So when they don't go back and help them pass over to the other side, granted there are spirits that don't want to do that, when they don't go back and do that for them, I feel like that's extremely selfish because the spirit world isn't there for your entertainment purposes. Just remember that. They overreact. Yeah, I feel like, and I used to love Ghost Adventures. I really like the whole crew there. Um, but I feel like if they would just not go, oh, dude, they might be missing out on evidence if you just whisper, oh my God, like do that. I feel like they freak out too much. I mean, you've been to some crazy places. You'd think you'd grow some balls at some point. Or ovaries. Haha. Hey, Roger Hensley. Damn, Gypsy, I have way too many bad memories involving that house, knowing how I'm going near it or the property. Yeah. You can even think, you can even think it right here, Lansing. That's about 45 minutes from me, I think. I mean, downtown Lansing's probably like a total hour, though. But yeah. All right, let's go back to the stories and I'll check the chat again in a second. This says don't look back. So this happened to my mother's uncle in the 70s in India. I couldn't believe this story when my mom first told it to me, but after meeting her uncle a year before he passed away, my view changed. My mother's uncle, who I'll just call Unc for short, lived in a rural Indian village. Electricity was present, but unreliable, and the entire village basically became pitch black once the sun went down. Unc was a sharp, well-respected accountant. He'd ride his bike long distances to meet with clients. One evening he was riding back home from a neighboring village, and the path was particularly dark and desolate. As he was riding, he heard a voice calling out to him from behind. He knew no one else was around, but this voice sounded like his daughter's. He knew this wasn't possible because his daughter died at age 5. Very scared, he pedaled faster and tried not to turn around. In Indian superstition, you shouldn't look back to hear voices of loved ones or friends calling you like this on dark, lonely roads, because it is said it is demonic entities trying to trick you to get your attention. For some reason, Unc looked back, and from that point, he was never the same again. He made it back home, but was deeply disturbed and mentally unstable for the remainder of his life. A once intelligent accountant was reduced to a dejected, mumbling mental case. He refused to talk about what he saw to anyone, including me when I met him. That look in his eyes when I met him freaks me out to this day. Holy moly. That's terrible. Bernadette, I hope you listened to the stories on Patreon that were posted yesterday. They're really good. They scared me, so that's how good they were. Seems like a lot of evidence is fabricated. Almost everyone they see something is off camera. Well, what I don't like about it is if you're going to go there with cameras and set up, you can get those really cheap security cameras for the outside of your house. So if you're going to go there and like ghost hunt professionally with all this money from a TV show, you could go and set up cameras all over the building before you even got there, and each person take a floor. But the problem is I feel like they stopped doing it for scientific reasons and start doing it strictly for entertainment. And I guess it's kind of hard to turn the money down. That's what people call a sellout, but I'm not gonna say someone else is a sellout, because people do what they got to do. Who's gonna turn down money in a world where you just never know? Tomorrow their show could get canceled, so they could have to rely on what they have right now. So I don't know. I don't want to cut down someone else. I used to like watching Ghost Adventures when they first came out, because it seemed like they used to be a little braver, went to a few more different places, and used to get some really cool evidence. And I liked the original crew better too. I don't have anything against the guys that are there now. I just got really used to the three guys, that were there for a long time. And also, I can't watch any of the new ones because my cable provider doesn't carry the Travel Channel. So, boo. I was going to take this stuff with a grain of salt. Yeah, because I think, Bugnuts, you're right. Besides the fact that one person can go in there and get absolutely nothing, no feeling whatsoever. Another person can go in there and get all kinds of evidence. I think that spirits would be attracted to someone who's open to it. And I think that it just depends on the circumstances. Seems like the spirit will be like, yeah, don't give these guys any evidence. They're just going to sell it. The house itself wasn't malevolent. It was just sad. Yeah. That's the presence of the people that were trapped there. Can you imagine being born into something where you're just treated like you're nothing? I mean, your energy would be left over. And if no one ever your whole life did anything good for you or did anything good to you, it would be really hard to feel good ever. It's depressing. Sad energy. I did watch the Demon House documentary. That was pretty good. I do like that he demolished the house. I do like that. Now he nailed himself. He actually screwed the windows and the door shut and trapped himself in there for, was it 24 hours or just overnight? But again, I feel like they should have set up cameras, which it seemed like they had 4 on the screen when you go back and look. They had 4 in each one. If you don't know what we're talking about, so the Zach Bagans from the Ghost Adventures, my husband and I watched this actually a couple weekends ago. Bought a house in Illinois that they deemed it the demon house because there were reports from police officers, CPS workers that witnessed a child walking up the wall. They witnessed several other paranormal things that had no explanation whatsoever. So he bought the house. And I guess there's supposed to be a movie coming out because during the documentary, he was going to talk to the lady. And first she was saying she didn't want to talk to him because they didn't want the evil in their house. But it turns out that she didn't want to talk to him on the documentary because it was going to alter her opportunity to make money from a movie deal. So there's going to be a movie on it. I don't know what it's going to be called, but the thing was pretty good. I still feel like he got a little dramatic when he was trapped inside. And on the off chance that Zach Bagans ever watches a live stream, I feel like he's going to be pissed off at me for saying this. But I mean, why would he ever watch my live stream anyway? But I feel like maybe if they could just keep their emotions in check, it would make it so much more fascinating, because it seems like it happens to him a lot. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, but it's good. I thought it was good. It was interesting. I read about the house before I even heard about the documentary, so I was extra excited. Yeah, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally, my husband and I were scrolling through Netflix. I was looking for something scary to watch, and he's the one that figured out that that's what that was. And I was like, holy crap, I kept seeing that in the new release thing on Netflix for the longest time and didn't know what it was. I'm like, oh, that looks like it might be good. And that's what I was waiting to see for, like, I don't know, a year. Is there something about the demon house on YouTube? Probably. Bye, Jen. Bye. Yes, do that. Yay. I was just telling my husband last night that one of my favorite stories that I've read, and I have a lot of them now, but one of my favorite ones that I've read was Soul Taker, or it's titled Taking Back What You Stole. But I just, for thumbnail purposes, I always like to shorten the titles because it takes, people are going to look at that thumbnail and see 50,000 words in there that you just need to like 1 or 2 words for your title. So it's really eye-catching. But that's one of my favorite stories because when I altered the audio, it's one thing to alter the audio while you're reading, but when you listen back to it, like the end of Soul Taker freaks me out, and I'm the one that read it. Okay. I'll try to find it. If I can find anything about the demon house, I'll link it in the comment section after the live stream's over. Definitely. Yay. Okay. Back to the stories. Let's see what this one says. This says close call. About 15 years ago, I was working at a smallish company. They had about 75 employees. The owner of the company ended up selling it, and the new owners came in and cleaned house. Fired about 15 people. A guy that I worked with, I'll call him Dave here, was one of them. Dave was shocked that he was fired. Most people didn't get along with Dave because he was odd. He had a short temper and sometimes yelled at people and had some personal grooming problems like bad dandruff and body odor. So many people were glad to see him go, and it was no shock to many of us that he was fired. After about a week of the mass firing, I'm at work and get a phone call from Dave. He tells me that he wants to take me out to lunch as a way of saying thanks for my recently teaching him how to run a few different machines. That knowledge will help him get a new job. I agree to go, and a few days later he shows up at lunchtime. I assumed he was taking several people from there out, but it turned out just to be me. At lunch, things started off fine. Then they got strange. He was upset about being fired and was angry. I let him vent and sympathized with him. He had been there several years and felt betrayed. As lunch starts to wind down, he tells me that I was one of the few people he liked there, and that there were people there that he would love to hurt. It was a little strange, but I just thought he was still venting. We get in the car to drive back, and he starts telling me how easy it would be to lock the doors from the outside with boards and burn the place down or do damage to it. As we pull into the parking lot, he tells me not to worry, that even if he could hurt some of these people, I was his friend. The way he said it really gave me the chills. I said goodbye, got out of the car, and went inside. There was a window near my boss's desk that looks out into the parking lot, and I could see Dave's car from there. He wasn't leaving. He was just sitting in his car. Lunch ends, and everyone goes back to work, and Dave was still just sitting there. I tell my boss we need to call 911, that Dave said some strange things, and I think he might try to hurt someone. My boss calls 911 and the police get there within a few minutes. Talk to Dave, get him out of his car, then put him in the back seat of the police car. They then used his keys to open the trunk. And in the trunk, they find a few boards, some rope, and a few guns. They talked more to Dave, and he agreed to be taken into custody and to get some help. I don't know if he would have done anything, but the way the building is designed, had he decided to, he could have shot a lot of people in a very short period of time. I was so freaked out I couldn't work the rest of the day. The rest of the day, bitch, I would have went on a week vacation. No. No. That's terrible. Davenport, Iowa, bad. I knew it was boring. No. I was, for some reason, you and Damn Gypsy are telling like very similar story in very different parts of the country. If you saw him or her, I think They share an account, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Yeah, what is everybody doing for Halloween? I think we're going to live stream here for Halloween. Like an actual, like, hey, hang out with us face-to-face type of live stream. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the stories. Hopefully I went. Okay. This one's titled Time of Death. So about 9 or 10 years ago, I was friends with this guy that ran an Ian Center. Land Center? I can't tell what that says. He would host gaming parties. Okay, Land Center probably. He would host gaming parties on Friday nights, and usually it would be packed with friends. The place was located inside an old shopping mall, and you had to access it through the back door where the night guard would let you in and out. So this Friday, we all go and are having a blast. I decide to go for a food and drinks run before all the shops close, and I take everyone's orders. Head out the back door, and the back door is locked. I wait a minute, and then call out for the guard. He appears from behind the door of his office and lets me out. I go and come back, and he's waiting for me. He opens the door, and I go back to the Land Center. The weekend passed by, and on Monday, I decide to go hang out at the Land Center for a few minutes after school. I walk in the mall, and there's cops everywhere and an awful stench. The shops were closed, and the cops wouldn't let me stay for long, so I decided to go back home. That night, the news reported that there was a murder at the shopping mall, that a lady that managed the place found out that one of the guards was stealing, and that after she confronted him, he killed her and stuffed her in garbage bags inside his locker. The murder took place the past Friday, and forensics estimate the time of death around 9 or 10 p.m. After the newsmen said this, my heart stopped. The TV showed a picture of the murderer, and I immediately recognized it. It was the usual night guard. I got the shivers just from remembering this. The time of death overlaps the time in which I went out for a food run that Friday night, and the back door was just a few feet away from the office in which the murder took place. Yikes. Ugh. Trust your gut, people. Trust your gut. You can always apologize later. Yes, my husband's going to be Bob Ross for Halloween. I don't know what I'm going to be for Halloween. I like to keep it simple. Although I have learned a few tricks with some hot glue, so I don't know. Ew, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. all week. You already know that at the end of October? You already know what your schedule is at the end of October? That's crazy. Well, me and my husband don't have any friends either because everyone has kids, so. And all their kids are different ages. Like, that's what happens. It's fine. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. Yeah, that's why I figured we'd do a Halloween live stream. You're going to be Justin Ryan. I'm going to be Black Sheep for Halloween. Be one of Bob Ross's paintings. I always usually like to be something scary. Last few years, my daughter, I think she was a banana one year. Like a whole banana. I don't remember what she was last year. But, you know, sometimes they get too cool to dress up for Halloween. I say you're never too old to dress up for Halloween. That's just boring. Anyway, this one's titled Turn Around. Back in high school, I was part of our school's cheer squad. During the summer, before the new school year started, we'd all go to cheer camp. This one was held over a few days at a local university. Learn some new routines or stunts and compete with other cheer teams. Now, I wasn't a typical cheerleader. I liked my space and didn't get rowdy with the others during our off time. I preferred to read or listen to music by myself in a room I shared with 2 other girls. During these downtimes, all the other girls were across the hall listening to music and going nuts. They always did this with their door open. So I kept mine closed so I could have some peace. I was laying on my stomach in front of my boombox with my head facing away from the dorm door. And all of a sudden I hear a female whisper, "Turn around." I turn around. No one's there. I go back to what I was doing, and again, I hear someone say, "Turn around." I figure I'm hearing voices carry over from the hallway, as the voice did sound like one of the girls on my team. I open the door to have a look outside, and surprisingly, the hall is empty, and the door across the way is shut. Couldn't have been her. Again, I go back to what I was doing. This time, when I hear the voice say, "Turn around" again, it was followed by 2 hard taps on my right shoulder. Oh, hell no. I get up, look around, and there's no one in the room. I look in the closet that was closest to where the dorm room was. It was a shared closet that led to the next room that was occupied by our coach. No one was in there either. I figure, fuck that, I'm not staying in this room alone. So I go across the hall into the other room. Everyone is busy doing their own thing. I tell my friend about it, who's really into ghosts, and she keeps telling me to tell everyone about it, but I choose not to. It happened to be the last night of our stay there, and our coach and one of her friends were telling ghost stories. The last story they tell is how the area where we had been practicing, in front of a white gazebo, was where a wedding was supposed to have taken place. Something about some people that donated a lot of money to the school had it built for their daughter's wedding. Their daughter ends up finding out that her fiancé was cheating on her, and she hung herself from the gazebo. I thought it was interesting that the gazebo was the first thing I noted when I was assigned to my room. It was right outside of our only window. I don't know how true the story was, but I loved the smiles and laughter completely fell from my coach and her friend's face when my friend had me relate my story. No one slept in that dorm room that night. Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably start recording. Haha. I was hunted. I was haunted Alice in Wonderland. That's cool. Last year, I was the bee girl from the Blind Melon music video. Logan, am I the only one that should turn around? Turn around. Bright eyes. I've heard that it takes a spirit a ton of energy just so you can hear that. So if they sound like a whisper to you, but really they're like screaming at the top of their non-existent lungs to try and talk to you. So it's kind of cool and sad at the same time. This one's titled Footsteps. I used to live alone in a small one-bedroom upstairs apartment. At night, when I was either in bed or in the bathroom, I would hear someone walking across my little living room floor toward the balcony and back again. When it first started happening, I was too scared to do anything other than cower under my covers. My significant other at the time, who lived in the apartment downstairs, would hear it as well when staying in the night. One evening, I came home pretty late, climbed the stairs, unlocked and opened my front door, only to freeze in the doorway. You know that awareness you have when there are other people in a room or nearby you? That gut sense that you know that someone is there. I had the unshakable feeling that someone was in my apartment, and the light to the tiny balcony, which I never used, was on. I don't know what I was thinking, but I quickly turned on the lights, took a deep breath, and ran into the open kitchen for a knife. It was that real to me. From there, I could see that there was no one on the balcony. That left the bedroom, bathroom, and closet. Not sure why, but the closet was the scariest place to check. I have no clue how to fight with a knife, but I think a big part of me already knew I would not find a living person in my apartment. And I didn't, nor did I see anything that night. It was just that undeniable feeling, and it stayed with me for a while. Feelings prove nothing, but I know for a fact I didn't turn that light on, and the footsteps continued. Ooh, dum dum dum. Oh my gosh. The literal video version is hilarious. Turn around, bright eyes. That was like in the 80s where music videos were pretty new. And they were like supposed to be like a dark romantic video, right? So they got all this, it's like, isn't it like dark? And it's got like this overcast shadow of a fake window onto the darkness. And then there's like these big, huge, wispy white curtains flowing around. Maybe I'm thinking of another video, but turn around by night, turn around. Oh. That was me fake singing, not real singing. So yeah, don't judge me. Anyways, moving on. This one's called The Whistling Man. It feels like I've heard this before just from the title. We're going to read it anyway. Let's see what happens. My parents were on a trip to Europe. They're getting older and have plenty of money so they can travel wherever they want. I was taking care of their house. I was home for the summer from school anyway, so it was fine. I had been there for a few weeks and it was pretty quiet. I just went to work, came home, had some time with my boyfriend enjoying the house to ourselves. But one night, I was just laying there watching TV when I heard this really weird, low whistling sound coming from the window that was just behind the couch. It struck me as sort of odd, and I just sort of shrugged it off. But then it happened again. It totally sounded like there was a person standing at the window, whistling up against it. I looked out the window, and obviously there was no one there. So I figured I should just go check it out. If it were something like the wind on the siding, I should probably fix it, because that would get annoying. So I walked out into the backyard. Okay, I'm gonna pause here. Horror movie rule number 1. You don't go in the backyard in the dark by yourself. Jesus Christ. Moving on. The backyard of my parents' house is this super beautiful, sparse sort of forest. Yeah. That leads to a road on the other side. So I looked at the house, didn't see anything. But then I heard the sound again. It was coming from the woods in the back. I was creeped out at this point, and of course I couldn't see anything in the woods. So I hurried back through the door and locked it behind me. I never really heard the sound again for a few days, until one night when I was asleep in my room, and I could have sworn I was awakened by the whistling sound against my second-floor window. I listened hard, and it was dead silent. So I decided I should go ahead and look out the window. I did that whole thing where I crept super slow toward it and just sort of peeked through it. Outside my window, there was a man just standing there. I was really sleepy, so I can't know how much of this I'm misremembering, but he was just sitting there staring at me. I was completely frozen, and slowly the man pursed his lips, and I could hear the whistle again. It was crystal clear. It made me feel like crying. I tore myself away from the window and hid under the covers. The next night, I insisted that my boyfriend stay with me, and he did. And of course, nothing happened. He figured that I was just tired and delirious, and maybe he was right. It gets kind of anticlimactic here, but I didn't hear it again for a week or so. And when I did, it was just one small whistle happening randomly, coming from a wall or something. It just happens every week or so. Freaks me out tremendously. The weirdest part is that I started doubting the accuracy of my memories, particularly my encounter with a whistling man. I mean, this is the age of smartphones. You can hit record anytime, dude. That makes it harder for me to believe that stuff, so I don't know. Took my meds. I wondered if I took my meds today. Thanks for reminding me. Take my meds. Everyone take your medicine if you didn't take your medicine. Oh no, the wrong ones. No. I have to take my meds before bed, otherwise I forget. That happened to me too. I love you, Autumn. Oh, no problem, Bernadette. Sorry, I'm just skimming through out loud. Antonio, I haven't seen you in a live stream in a long time. Hello. Crow with theSOL. If you haven't seen any literal video versions of songs, you're missing out. Some of them are really stupid though. We were watching Family Guy, and they said, here's the worst video music. Here's the worst thing that should have never existed. And it was Mick Jagger and David Bowie singing Calling Out Around the World. What is that song? Dancing in the USA or something like that. And it is literally the worst thing I've ever seen. And it's a tragedy because Mick Jagger and David Bowie were like legends in their own right. And they made him make this stupid ass music video. And it's so bad, it's funny. You need to watch it if you haven't seen it because, oh my God, it's bad. Antonio, I hope you're still listening to the Patreon posts. I posted one yesterday. And I also sent any patrons on here. I sent you guys a feed. So through the email that you get about new stories, you should, and I'm not sure how to do this, how to know unless you guys tell me, you should be able to click on that link and immediately listen to the new stories. So I'll be curious to know if that happens. So not yet working on it. I got everything I need. Sea salt, sage, waiting until the harvest moon. Again, you don't have to do that. You can sea salt right now. Sea salt all your windows and doors now. And if you feel extra bad, walk around your property line with the sea salt and pretend it's a whole, you know what, I'll just message you on Twitter because I'm getting outside of the point here. Dancing in the streets. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was funny. It was very footlooser. Yeah, it was. Don't come around here no more. And that was a Alice in Wonderland setting, wasn't it? That was really weird, but it was kind of cool. I didn't expect it. Plus, the 80s creepy is creepier. I don't know why, but 80s creepy is creepier. It just is. They didn't have the high-tech stuff that they do now to make stuff creepy and add stuff. You just had to make it creepy and record it. That's what's crazy about it. That's fine, but you don't have to wait. Especially if she can boost it at the Celestial event. She can boost it and make it more powerful. But for now, she can sea salt right now, all of everything. And just right now be able to ward off some things. So it'll be helpful either way. If you do both, that's great. There's no wrong way to do it. It's the intention. Middle of the Night Visitor. This one's titled. It's not very long. Well, I mean, it's a good paragraph, but anyway. About 4 years ago, I went on a cruise with my best friend. We partied, gambled, and shopped all over Mexico. One night, I passed out from drinking a shit ton of vodka. At around 2 or 3 a.m., I randomly wake up out of a dead sleep to the patio door open. I look over, see that she's sleeping, and get up and shut it. I was half asleep but still thought that was weird because on cruise ships, you have to literally slam the door and it automatically locks from the inside. I fall right back to sleep. However long later, I wake up again out of a dead sleep and see a mangled, bloodied man standing at the end of my bed with his head crooked to one side. I thought I was dreaming. Blinked and it was still there, staring at me. I threw a blanket over my head because that would save me, right? And made myself go back to sleep. In the morning, before I can say anything, my friend said she woke up in the middle of the night because the bathroom light and faucet were on. I freaked out and told her the story. I have never had a paranormal experience, but I swear on everything I fucking saw that. After getting off the cruise, I looked up online and come to find out the boat we were on has had a lot of paranormal activity, and a lot of people have fallen off or committed suicide. Whoa. When do you have to disclose that? Because it's not like buying a house, but him cutting her into a cake was the worst. I'm gonna have to rewatch that video because I don't remember that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch that video now. I'm trying to remember that, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. But yeah, that's creepy. This next one's titled The Watchers. So somewhere between freshman and sophomore years of high school, a friend of mine and his family moved in with his grandma. Oh, moved in with his grandma, okay. They were buying a house that ended up having to have some work done so his grandma invited them to live with her while they waited for the house to get finished. She had a beautiful big house, and it was just her and my friend's cousin that lived there, so there was plenty of room. My friend's cousin was 2 years older than me and was going into her senior year of high school. The house's living room had a vaulted ceiling with floor-to-ceiling walls on all sides. Windows! I meant to say windows, obviously had walls. It looked amazing, but gave you no real privacy. It wasn't a big deal, though, because the house sat about 500 feet off the road and had woods surrounding it on all sides. Shortly after my buddy and his family moved in, I went over on a Saturday to spend the night. My buddy's room was small, so we decided to sleep on the 2 couches in the living room. Just as we were getting ready to go to sleep, it was around 1 a.m. We see someone walk past the window outside. We immediately freak out. We get his dad, who shut off the lights in his house. About 100 feet away in a tree line, you can see a small red light as 2 people pass a cigarette back and forth. They're just standing there, watching the house. His dad calls the police, then opens the front door and yells, and the 2 guys take off. The police find nothing over there. The woods are full of little game trails, so there's no telling where the guys went. The interesting thing is that there's only 3 houses within about a mile of this house, and none of them have older kids. One has very small children, and the other have no kids. So we have no idea where these people came from. A few weeks later, another friend and I both spend the night there. The 3 of us walk into the living room at around 10 p.m. to watch a movie, and there's a guy standing looking in the window. We freak out and he runs off. Again, we can see the lights of the cigarettes in the distance. Over the course of that summer, there were multiple encounters with the Watchers. There were 3 places they would come and stand, and we could never forecast if they would come or where they would go. They would knock on the windows. Once they shook the front door so hard it set off the burglar alarm. At times, we would just see them in the tree line watching the house. Once, they took lipstick and wrote hello on the window. During the day, we combed the woods trying to find them, but never could. We thought it was likely guys from our school trying to catch a glimpse of my buddy's cousin in her bikini or in her underwear because she was hot. But it would have been a hell of an effort just to maybe catch a glimpse. We never found out who it was, especially the house my buddy's family was buying was Eventually, the house my buddy's family was buying was fixed and they moved. Who the Watchers were and what they wanted is still one of the greatest mysteries of my life. Whoa, that's crazy. Yeah, I doubt it was a cigarette too. That'd be kind of boring, don't you think? Like, even in your craziest mental state, wouldn't you get so fucking bored of just watching someone? Especially people that didn't want anything to do with you. I guess I can't understand that mindset. It would just be so boring. Yeah. Near the end of the video, Tom Petty as the Mad Hatter and Alice on the table. He was cutting up her body and serving it to his court. It was a cake, but when you're young, it was scary. Yeah, I don't remember that. That's creepy. Hey, Kale. What was I gonna say? If you guys seen any cakes now, they make them so realistic looking. It's kind of terrifying. Like, even if they made a cake that looked like really, I don't think I'd want to eat it. If they made a cake that looked like that for real, I probably wouldn't want to eat it because the thought process behind that is still really creepy. Yikes. What did Bernadette say here? I have a car that sits in front of our house and he walks somewhere else. Oh, a guy parks in front of your house and then he walks somewhere else? That's weird. This one's titled Footprints. Oh, and apparently this is the last one too. On this set of stories anyway. Most memorable unexplained event in my life happened while snowshoeing a few miles away from the small northeastern town in Oregon. The sun was just up and there was a fresh layer of snow about 4 inches worth. The forest was quiet, eerily quiet. It was one of those places that just makes your hair stand on end. I felt someone, something, was watching me. And at this point, I turned around to head back to my car, only to find a fresh set of human-sized prints right behind my own. Scary part is that the snow is about 2 feet deep, and these prints were only pressed in a couple inches. There was only a right print, and it occurred in intervals of 10 feet or so. They started from nowhere, and ended up near where I had stopped to turn around. What the hell was following me? Damn. That's freaky. There was a story, I don't know if I read it for you guys or not, but I heard it on someone else's. And it was, no, I think I did read it for a live stream or on my channel. But it was winter and they lived in the middle of nowhere. And someone kept banging on the windows. And there were no footprints outside the house. Like no matter when they went out, it was winter. You would see some footprints around. Even if you did some walking in your yard, you should have seen fresh footprints in the snow. They didn't see anything. There was nothing there. Yeah, nobody wants to see that much detail in something you're going to eat, I don't think. Yeah, gross. Oh, and baby, yeah, that's gross. Yeah. Ew. Yeah. I need to do a series on Pizzagate and explain what Pizzagate is. If you don't know what it is, you can Google it. Um, it's also still debatable if it's a real thing anyway, but yeah, I want to look into that more and see what I can find on it. And I did start, and it'll take a while for me to get it exactly the way I want it, but I really wanted to do some deep research on MK Ultra, and there's a lot of video footage from that. So I really want to be able to add that too. There's a lot behind my house that they just started construction on. And there was a guy that was up against my fence. The lot that's directly behind my house is like forest. Not forest, but it's all trees. It won't pert, if that makes sense, or perk or whatever it's called. So you can't ever build on it. However, they're building on the lot that's adjacent to it. And the guy was trying to find a property marker and he was up against my fence in the woods trying to like find a marker and was ripping vines off my fence. And I don't know. Our like what little privacy we had here is like going away. So if anyone's looking to buy a house, I want to sell mine. If my husband's in the chat still, he's gonna have some commentary about that. Which thing, Pizzagate or MK Ultra, Bernadette? They're both real. I really want to dive deeper into some cult stories too because of how many there are. And how people kind of gotten suckered into them. But I had some other stories set aside over here. Let's see if my voice will hold up for it. Sorry. These ones are really, really short. There's like 13 of them and they're really, really short. So let's see. This one's called Mommy's Home. My father's laying in his bed just after waking up, grabs the baby monitor and walks to his desk in his office at home. He has his baby on the baby monitor and hears his wife singing to her. He cracks a smile as he hears his wife say, "Go to sleep, go to sleep," when the front door opens up and his wife comes in with groceries. Now, don't you think someone would know that their wife was at the grocery store? I don't know. These are some of those. Hopefully, this doesn't delve into the, oh, that's dumb. This one's titled "Pretending to be asleep Doesn't Work." So, a young boy is sleeping in his bed on a usual night. He hears footsteps outside his door, peeks out of his eyes to see what is happening. His door swings open quietly to reveal a murderer carrying the corpses of his parents. After silently propping them up on a chair, he writes something on the wall in the blood of the dead bodies. He then hides under the child's bed. The child is scared beyond belief. He can't read the writing on the wall, and he knows the man's under his bed. Like any child, he pretends that he's asleep through the whole thing and hasn't woken yet. He lays still as the bodies quietly hearing the breathing from under his bed. An hour passes, and his eyes are adjusting more and more to the darkness. He tries to make out the words, but it's a struggle. He gasps when he finally makes out the sentence. "I know you're awake." And he feels something shift underneath the bed. Okay, so these are obviously not real stories. So I'm just going to click out of that right now because although we all love a good creepypasta, that's not what we came to the stream for. Pizzagate. Pizzagate is a it's not a one event type of thing. It is what they deem Pizzagate is a how do I explain it correctly? Like they use code words for kids and it's just bad. It's really, really bad. And that's why I want to do stories on it because it's bad. And if they're really bad, they're just going to be Patreon because can't put that shit on YouTube. But ironically, that's how I heard a lot of the stories was from YouTube. So that's the ironic part of it. They're the most recent thing entered into evidence is from the White House, but it is a global issue, an epidemic, not epidemic. I guess that's not the right word. It's a global cover-up, and it's astronomically disgusting. Yeah, only if you come with the house. Yeah, I'll haunt it. How's all that? Yeah, yikes. All right, so we're now on to movies that you can watch on Netflix, supposedly. The first one is Horns. Now, I've seen this movie with Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter. He gets accused of the brutal rape and murder of his longtime girlfriend. Wakes up with a hellish hangover and a set of horns growing out of his head. They start out small and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Also, anyone he comes into contact with, including friends and family, begin to tell him their deepest, darkest secrets, and they're pretty bad. And it goes on and on and on and on. It's so sad. Like the whole time he's being accused of killing his girlfriend, and the whole time he's just so sad that she's gone, and he's mourning her while everyone is shunning him everywhere he goes, and he keeps growing these horns. So people keep thinking, oh, he must be guilty, and that's like the devil coming out of him or whatever. But it's really interesting if you get a chance to watch it. These are supposedly all on Netflix. I know this was on Netflix before. I don't know if it is still. The next one is called Inner Demons. I haven't seen this. It says, if Intervention and the Blair Witch Project made mad, passionate love and had a baby, this would be it. A straight student gone wrong, a young woman gone through goth, druggy phase, or something far more sinister at play. Oh, okay. So I don't know. There's supposedly 20 movies that you can watch right now that are supposedly scary. Ooh. One of them's called The Nightmare. Technically a documentary, but it's very well done and extremely scary. It delves into the phenomenon known as sleep paralysis and how it affects its sufferers. As a longtime victim of sleep paralysis, I concur this film is on point. So it's called The Nightmare. I'll type them in the chat as we go here. How about that? So the first one was called Horns. Team Chaos. Hey, live action Bleach is pretty awesome. What? Evil Satyr. I started at noon, so you know, Mormons. Haha. Ooh, squirrel, by the way. I'll type in these that we just. Horns was the first one. Inner Demons was the one that they mentioned after that. And then, what was that one? The next one was called The Nightmare. So if anybody watches these, I want to know if you watch these. But when you said Mormons, so there's, I'm going to find it right now so you guys can see it too. I found this channel a while ago, and they go exploring urbex because I told you that's one of the things I like to do. And I really like to watch people do it because they can go places I just simply cannot afford to go. And so this guy and his wife go urbexing all the time. And let's see, I'm trying to find my history of where I was watching this yesterday. So they went to, even if you can't see what's going on, I want to know if you guys can hear what's going on if I click on something. So they explored a polygamy cult town, and this, they went to, let me just click on this so I can see where I'm at, where they went. And it was a famous guy, and he's actually serving life in prison for being a pedophile, basically. And although he's in jail, he still runs the town from jail. Like, that's how scared these people are of him, or how much they believe that he's their leader. I'm trying to find. Okay, so what's the guy's name again? I cannot remember. I think they were in New Mexico. Hold on a second. So can you guys hear that when I play it? If I share it, can you guys hear it? But they went to this town, and the whole time they're there, they're just sitting at the a picnic table at the park, and the whole time they're there, people keep coming to the park the entire time to get water and watch them while they're there to see what they're doing. And it's so creepy because all they're doing is just sitting at a picnic table, just drinking some pops, and people are watching them to see what they're going to do. And I cannot remember the guy, but I'm going to share it with you guys. You guys want to hear it. Because I didn't finish watching it to see. Warren Jeffs. Yes, thank you. He had 78 wives. And although the house that they lived in, I think it's a treatment center now, a drug rehab treatment center, right on the huge, like probably half the size of my house is this huge, from ground to the roof of this 2 or 3 story house building. It says, pray and obey in huge letters. But yeah, he went to prison because he was kidnapping girls, marrying them, impregnating them, but he was also molesting girls and boys, and is said to still be running this town from jail. Well, I'm gonna share it with the screen, so I want to know when I share it with the screen if you guys see it. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll check the chat to see if you guys are seeing it. I have beef with them because when I was younger, I was trying to figure out who I was, and I came out as gay, and they wanted me to send me away to this facility to pray the gay away. Yeah, people are ignorant, man. They're just ignorant. I don't know why people still think, I don't know. People are just afraid of what they don't know. But I'm going to share the screen with you so you can see this too. Then I'm going to see if you guys can hear it. So we're going to screen share this so you can see it. I'm going to push play. So here they are. Okay, so apparently you guys can't hear it. So what I'm going to do is you guys can see the screen. I'm going to pause it here in a second. I'm going to take my headphones off and turn this up as loud as I can so you can hear it. And then, I mean, I'll skim through parts and we're going to want to watch the whole thing because it's really long. I have pie. Do you have pie? Harry Rods is here, everyone. Okay, I'm going to unplug the mic so you can hear it. Hold on.
With an iron grip. He still controls this entire town, well, almost the entire town. It's been changing a lot, but we've been here, guys, and we've seen some of the fundamentalists. Now, we're going to give you guys a real quick rundown of what the fundamentalist LDS is, okay? There's two different sects of Mormons. There's the modern Mormons, and there's the fundamentalists. And the fundamentalists are the ones that run this place. The fundamentalists are completely different. They broke off about 100 years ago from the modern Mormons. And now, we get a lot of weird looks, guys. I don't know if you guys picked that up in the camera. We're getting just they keep streaming in one after another, and they fill their water here. It's like really weird. So the fundamentalists broke off from the main group, the LDS, and because they were getting in trouble for polygamy. Some will even say that the FLDS follow the Bible or their holy books as they were written really closely versus the LDS, who pretty much just changed for the times in order to try to meld with the times. That's what a lot of people will say. But we're going to wait for them to leave behind us. And then we will continue this because we don't want them to hear us talking about them and put the Mormon signal out. The FLDS broke off from the LDS, guys. Many people, and I'm not going to tell you which side is right, I'm just giving you what I read online. Some people believe that the LDS, the ones you find here in the prairie dresses, which are part of the polygamous sect, they're the ones who follow the Bible, the real holy books of their books. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, so don't come at me about it because we don't know. A lot of these people are polygamists. Not everyone. There's some misunderstandings. They're not all polygamists, are they?
No, they're not all polygamists.
Only some of them are polygamists, right? So anyways, the leader of this cult named Warren Jeffs was arrested for raping kids, molesting children. Okay, he was convicted and sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years. In addition, though, he didn't just rape and molest little girls. He also raped and molested little boys. If you go and listen to the testimony of some of the children. So he was an equal opportunity rapist. Guys, one of the things we're going to be searching for today was a place called Babyland.
He called it that.
He called it, yeah.
That's what he named it.
Exactly. Warren Jeffs called it Babyland. So in this baby cemetery, there's a ton of babies, right? And the reason there's so many babies is because they were all intermingled and marrying their own family members, which was causing lots of birth defects, and a lot of their babies were dying.
Yeah, like uncles to nieces, and with, cousins to cousins.
Yeah. So, and just even worse than that.
Yeah.
Even there's claims. I watched a story of one of the Jeffs' own nephews was raped by Jeffs. That's he still rules this place from prison. He still gets. They've broken down a lot because I believe that this guy is so twisted. This Warren Jeffs is a very twisted individual, and he's in prison. So since he's been in prison, he's been offering these edicts, right? Or edicts. I'm not sure how you say it. Edicts or edicts. And basically, he's telling people...
Every week, he issues bizarre orders that seem random to outsiders. Now it is down that you cannot eat corn.
No sex between husband and wife.
At home, and you couldn't have any toys. You couldn't ride bikes either.
And what it reminds me of, and he also has them.
Can't have ATVs.
They can't have ATVs, and they can't
Trampolines.
They can't have anything, but also they can't even freaking pay $100 and sign. Okay, I have to back up for a second. There was a trust in which the FLDS was running, right? I'm not really sure what happened with the trust. I believe. Did you read anything about the trust? Because the trust
He refused to pay anything of it, and it basically made it void. They started losing that land.
So then the state of Utah took over the trust, and in order for them to continue.
Havenly brings you quick, fast, professional interior design at an affordable price. Go to...
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there. Hang on a second. Okay, so we should be back in the live stream now. And I'll link that video if you want to watch the rest of it. They go to a lot of cool places, actually. They find some weird stuff that I haven't seen anyplace else. And they end up going to this cemetery. And you know how they said they had a lot of children dying from diseases and deformities and things like that. Much like royal families, which is probably what this guy thinks he is, some sort of royalty or some savior. He's obviously a lunatic, but my dog's barking at something. Again, super convenient that they're doing construction right behind our house. Not gonna say that I love that. Oh, that's just because of that Logan. These people are so far off of a regular Mormon dialect that it doesn't even make any sense. Like they were saying, he was. Oh, it's just now showing that? No. They were saying that he was giving them orders from prison. Things like husbands and wives can't have sex right now. And then it changed to kids couldn't have toys in their house. So your dog was barking because my dog was barking. Is that what you're saying, Crow? That's funny. Oh, thank God you were excommunicated. That means they won't mess with you anymore either. But the reason we went to that was because I was talking about doing some videos on cults, about cults. And that's one of the ones where people, it's kind of like they're born. You have to be so brainwashed to just go along with what people tell you. It's amazing. So I do want to dive deeper into that and the mentality involved with people that stay in it and the people that get out. What is it about the people that get out? Because they instilling fear is part of the way they get people to stay in cults. And there's people that finally say, no, I'd rather die than live this way anymore. And then there's people that are so fucking scared that they don't dare think about even leaving. So let's see. Logan, I remember they asked everyone to get baptized for the souls of the dead. No thanks. I feel like you got to do quite a bit on cults. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And even within those cult sects or whatever you call it, sections, there would be different people with different stories and different experiences. But I've never heard of a good story about a cult. Yeah. Not that there is one. I'm just saying. Kool-Aid. You have to give everything you own to the church. Oh, yeah. That's not bad. That's bad. I'm all for helping other people out, but if you're involved in something that suddenly you have to sacrifice everything that you do for it, for the church, it's time to do some serious evaluating. It's fine to delve into spirituality, and it's fine to question everything around you. You should always question it. You're never, ever, no one ever knows all the answers until life is over. You're never going to stop learning. The second you stop learning, stop wanting to know new knowledge, you might as well shut your shit down, because you know it all, then your life's pretty much over. As long as you're alive, you're never going to stop learning. There's never going to be things that aren't new to you. There's always going to be something new to you, something you've never heard of. And I feel like if there wasn't, that would be so boring, wouldn't it? It'd be so boring if everyone knew all the answers to everything. Where would the curiosity come from? Where would the creativity come from? Where would different walks of life come from? It just, I don't know. I went too introspective on this. I was going to go through the list of these movies really quickly, give you the nightmare. Devil, I think I saw that. That's quite an old one, where they're kind of trapped in an elevator, and turn against one another, and one of them is the devil. It's just called Devil. Let me see here. The Babadook, that one is scary, especially if you have kids that you read stories to. That one is scary. VHS, I've never seen it, and I know there's more, but there's actually 6 forms of terror. A standout segment is Amateur Night, a pack of friends out on the prowl for some strange. Lily, however, is a little stranger than they bargained for. Okay. So those were the Babadook and VHS. If anyone wants those. Let me see here. Mr. Jones. Scott and Penny put their lives on hold to make a nature documentary in the secluded wilderness. Things go bad when the project doesn't turn out as well as they'd hoped, and they go even worse when they come across the works of a mysterious, elusive artist named Mr. Jones. Wes Craven's New Nightmare and We Are What We Are. I don't know. I feel like you just have to go down that rabbit hole on Netflix and watch something that doesn't look that great to you, because I feel like you're going to watch. Right, where will purpose come from? I live for squirrels, Autumn. They have 2 other books they read from the Bible they use have been changed. Why intellectuals are so tortured. The old lady is the devil. I saw Devil. They had a happy ending in, I guess. You ever seen Spit on Your Grave? I don't know. It seems like I did. I've seen so many. I think they're starting to blend in with another. I watched The Last Witch Hunter, and I had to turn it off. It has Vin Diesel in it, which, you know, you're going to want to watch that because it's Vin Diesel. The storyline was just so bad. It jumped around all over the place, and they had all this money for, you know, the aesthetic of the movie was beautiful. The special effects were great, but the storyline was so bad. I haven't seen a movie that bad in a while. It was not good. It was not good. I'm really disappointed. It was just not good. Ugh. I also, because I went to the library and saw what they had there for scary movies. Sometimes I just like being able to pop a movie into the DVD player. I saw Spit in Your Grave, the old film or the remake. Both are brutal. Hey, Nightmare Files. I'm almost wrapping it up here. I've got the movie Witch that I'm waiting to watch also. But anytime anyone has any recommendations, please do. What's a movie that I saw that scared the shit out of me? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. I had way too much caffeine today, I think. It was a great idea. I fell asleep on it. Oh, the Last Witch Hunter. I hope Witch is good. That one looks scary. I feel like when a storyline is good, you don't need that many special effects for it unless it's like futuristic or involves like a lot of outer space or like you know what I mean? Unless the storyline really calls for the special effects, I would say leave it out of it, because the more basic you make it, the scarier it is, because it's more believable. but what do I know? The house is that October built. Okay. Brave Dancers. These are all movies. Brave Dancers is a movie. I have to watch that. I like the scary movies that could be real. Yeah. Those are the scariest ones to me. The ones that could be real, because you're like, holy shit. Like when I saw the first, what was it, Paranormal Activity. When I saw the first one, before any of the other ones came out, and that was really when a point of view horror, or what was that? It was like it was found footage or whatever. Found footage was a new thing. Now it's so old that I can't even watch anything, even if it'd have to be actual found footage. Not if I turn on a movie and it's one of those fake found footage movies, I immediately turn it off because I know it's going to suck. It's going to suck, or I'm just not going to want to watch it because it's not believable. But when I saw the first Paranormal Activity, I was so naive. I thought, holy shit, that person's on the loose. Like, I really thought that person was out on the loose. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up now because I'm starting to lose my voice. I blame that on cutting the grass right before the live stream. So, but yeah, I'm naive like that. And I don't ever want to lose that naivety, if that's the word for it, because I feel like it's something childlike that I don't ever want to go away. Of course, with the knowledge of being an adult and doing your research, I feel like it's a playful part of yourself that you should never lose. Don't be a sucker, of course, but I feel like it's something you should never lose. Anyway, have a new video out for you tomorrow night. Evan the Nerd has a whole series. If you were here in the beginning, you would have heard this already, but Evan the Nerd has a whole series he wants me to do in October, but there's a shorter series, or I'm guessing it's shorter, that introduces that series, and I'm going to put that up tomorrow, introducing it for October. I know that usually I do a Halloween special. I'm just not going to do it this year because last year I don't think I had all these people that were going to participate, and you constantly have to ask them for their audio back, and they just don't do it. This year we're going to do a live stream Halloween party. So maybe what we'll do is, like, you know what would be fun is to do like a 24-hour live stream starting at midnight on Devil's Night and ending at midnight on Halloween. I don't know if I can pull that off, and I don't know how boring that would be. So I'm going to have to think on that one. So don't quote me on that. Let's see. I'll read the chat here. I like the scary movies. That could be okay. Team Chaos. Just don't make the mistake of watching Paranormal Whack Activity. Just don't. You can never get the time back. I honestly, I like the ridiculous parody movies because they're so stupid. I like stupid comedy too. Autumn says, I'm out, peeps. Talk to you next time. Bernadette, let me know on Twitter how your spell goes. I'm sending good. I can't wait for Halloween. I know. I feel like Halloween's like better than Christmas now, but they're both great. So anyways, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to know if you watch any of the movies. Actually, I'll link this here if you guys want to go and check out this list of movies that they have on here. But really, I think you could find scarier ones on your own. Horns, I don't think Horns is actually scary. Horns with Daniel Radcliffe, I think that's more sad than it is scary. But if you watch any scary movies and they're good, by all means, please share with the class, everyone. And then next week's live stream, I'm going to do in the evening for those that can't like really come and hang out during the day. So we're going to alternate. And I'm just repeating myself for those that are just popping in, brand new. Just repeating myself. So next week's live stream will be at 8 or 9 p.m. I'm not 100% sure yet. And then the following Tuesday at noon, and so on and so on. And the video will be up tomorrow night, and then SKS on Saturday. I'm not sure who yet, but I don't think I should go more than a week or two without doing a serial killer Saturday because everyone freaking loves it so much. I can't do them every Saturday because it gets getting into the mindset of the killer can be a bit overwhelming, especially when you read a lot of scary stories and go looking for it. So Ouija Origins of Evil, super scary. Ooh, thank you. I'm gonna go look for that right now. Actually, I'm gonna write that down right now. Yes, I actually do want to do, and it wouldn't be a live stream, it would be more of a Google Hangouts where we find something on Netflix and watch it together, and then just kind of do a movie review about it or whatever. But I don't know if I should just do that for my Patreon patrons or not. I'm trying to figure out something extra to do for my Patreon patrons. Not that you guys give a crap about that. But I am going to write down this right now. Origins of Evil. I don't want to forget this. Happily updated in your videos. I still cannot figure out how to make videos for Patreon. They just don't have that capability yet. You have to make one that's like a minute or less. So I'd have to break it down into minute stories, or 2 minutes, whichever. Ouija Origins of Evil. My God. You can tell the caffeine's wearing off now. And I just typed that in black ink on black background. So that was smart. Wow. Anyways, I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me ramble. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for coming. I will see you guys next time. I was going to tell you something else, and now I totally forgot what it was. I think I already told you everything. My mind's just starting to jump around a lot. And it's time for me to go because it's just going to start talking about stuff that doesn't make any sense, like candy bars and popcorn. Anyway, thank you for coming, and I will see you next time. And yeah, I don't know who SKS will be about this Saturday. Time to do someone disgusting. I like doing the ones that you never hear about. So if you're new here and you haven't watched the Serial Killer Saturday playlist from beginning to end, I highly suggest you do, because there are several people on that list that I had never even known were serial killers, because all they do are highlight the very handful of them when there are far worse ones in the world that just go under the radar. Anyway, I'm going to thank you guys for coming. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your constant support. And hope I'm always entertaining you. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to say have a good day and end the stream here. And we always say goodbye a special way here because we are mocking those who are, I don't know, in the shell. I don't know. Anyway, we always say goodbye like this every time we leave our house here. And so I thought I'd spread it to my YouTube family and say bye, bye, bye.